Here we go. Okay. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome, Melissa, Karen, Hava, Sharon. We are going to do learn a sikha on miracles. Okay, 2 types of miracles, and it's connected to the miracle of the previous Rebbe coming out of alive out of the Russian regime that was trying to actually kill him. And the other miracle is the miracle that happened also on Gimel Tammuz, on the 3rd of Tammuz, which was that it says Yeshua stopped the sun in the sky in order to be able to have more sunlight, in order to be able to finish the war of the enemies that were attacking the Jewish people in the desert. No, not in the desert. It was already. It was Moshe Rabbeinu with being attacked in the desert, the Jewish people, and there was, okay, we're going to see it inside. I just woke up. Welcome. Who else joined us? Welcome. Here we go. Miracles, different levels of miracles. And the Rebbe is asking a very good question. I'm going to give you a teaser. Miracle of, if God's doing a miracle already, why not? Why do it in stages? Why not just do it right away? Full-blown miracle, everything taken care of. Why do we have to have like step by step? A little bit more of the miracle, a little bit more, another stage. Okay, good question. And there's 2 types of miracles. We're going to see it inside. So let's try to do as much as we can today, and we'll continue on Monday because it's connected. This sikha is connected to Gimel Tammuz, the 3rd of Tammuz, the day that the previous Rebbe was he had a death sentence that was commuted to Nanda. He was kept alive on this day, on the 3rd of Tammuz. And today is Erev Rosh Chodesh. We said tonight is Rosh Chodesh, right? And we learned yesterday. The Rebbe said Erev Rosh Chodesh is always bittul, like being given over to like Hashem, whatever you want, kind of attitude. Today is the day of surrender. Bittul is like a surrender and putting ourselves in Hashem's hands and being dedicated, given over to whatever Hashem wants. Okay, so that's an intro. Let's look inside. Gimel Tammuz, the 3rd of Tammuz. Okay, coming up in 4 days. Gimel Tammuz hu yom bo nishtachrer vod kedushat moicha miadmo b'shnat tafresh peizayin. It's a day the previous Rebbe, the father-in-law of our Rebbe, was released from jail in Russia. Now, Masav b'beit asurim Shparler b'Leningrad. In Leningrad, it was called Shparlerke. That was the name of the prison. Very, very high, very intense prison. B'tnai sheyisam miyad legalut. But he was let out of jail, and his sentence was commuted as long as he goes for 3 years to exile in the city Kasturama. עדיין אתה סכנה שיכולים להתחרט וכולי, אבל לאחר מכן ביום י"ב תמוז הוא קיבל בקסטמה את ההודעה שמשחררים אותו, ותעודת החופש תינתן לו למחרת. י"ג תמוז. Okay, so he's telling the story. At the time, they didn't know that there was a death sentence on the previous Rebbe that was removed. At the time, they just know that he's being moved from jail to a lighter sentence of being in exile rather than in jail. But it's still, it was committed to an exile, but still, there was still the worry that they could change their mind later on and he might be jailed again because he was still under their, he's still being also, he's an exile. So it wasn't a full, complete miracle and redemption. And afterwards, on the 12th of Tammuz, he received the notification in his exiled place that he is being actually released. And he'll be given actual paperwork to be able to leave the next day, the 13th of Tammuz. And after he was released completely, they found out that the 3rd of Tammuz was actually the beginning of his Geula, of his redemption. נודע אחר כך שהגלייתו לקסומה באה במקום העונש ההפך החיים, רחמנא ליצלן, שנפסק לו לפני כן, והשהיה מעמיד בסכנה ונוגע רחמנא ליצלן לכל המשך העניין בהרבצת התורה והחיזוק והעדות בכלל, והפצת האמונות חוצה בפרט, ותמורת זה הקלו את עונש והגלו אותו, עד שדבר זה הוליך לכך שישחררו אותו לגמרי בי"ב י"ג תמוז, ובכלל זה נקבע יום זה כחג גאולה, ובגלל נס זה נקבע יום זה כחג גאולה מדי שנה בשנה. So the story is that they found out later, once he was completely released, that the 3rd of Tammuz was actually a big miracle, that he was not killed, not murdered by them, and which would have been not just a tragedy for him, but also for the whole Jewish people, because he was the one who was spearheading the Jewish life and promoting Jewish life and taking care that they should not be completely extinguished in Russia, and then also in the rest of the world later on. The Lubavitcher Rebbe established yeshivas everywhere and sent out messages to everywhere to spread Yiddishkeit all over. So if he, God forbid, he would have been killed by the Russians, that would have been a terrible blow to spreading Yiddishkeit in the whole entire world. Okay, and Hasidus. So afterwards, they found out that that Gimel Tammuz was also a day of redemption, and that was actually the day that brought about that later on they would completely remove him and send him back home on the 12th and 13th of Tammuz. And that's why the miracle, because of this miracle, this day was considered a Chag Geula, a day of redemption for years to come. The Yud Beis of Gimel Tammuz. Now, Nishelet HaShe'ela, כיוון שהגאולה הייתה נס של הקדוש ברוך הוא, שלכן צריך להיות ידעו להשם חסדיו ונפלאותיו לבני אדם, מדוע לא היה זה מלכתחילה נס בתכלית השמות? There's the question I mentioned, since the miracle was a miracle from Hashem. And that's why we have to thank Hashem. When we have a miracle, it says we have to say, Yodu Lashem Chasdo. We have to thank Hashem for his kindness, V'niflotav, and his wonders to people. This is from Psalms, Tehillim 107. We say that, and the Rebbe quotes from the Rambam, Maimonides, Hilchos Brachos, the laws of Brachos, and the Shulchan Aruch also brings, and also in the laws of the Alter Rebbe Birkos Hanenin, we have an obligation to thank Hashem for the miracles. Okay, so if Hashem does a miracle, why wasn't it a complete miracle from the beginning? That the true and complete redemption should come immediately at one full blow, and not like it was then. That first of all, he was taken out of jail and he was sent to exile. And then after exile, he had 10 days later, he was sent home. Yet there was another question. י"ב י"ג תמוז לא הייתה שלמות הניצחון על הצד שכנגד במדינאי. ראשון בפושע נותרו אז הגזרות השונות של בני ישראל במדינאי. עד שבא לגאולה היה צריך כביכול לנסוע משם, והמניות ועיכובים נותרו שם במשך כמה וכמה שנים אחרי זה. So the Rebbe says not only that, his complete redemption was not completely full, that everything was fixed. There was still problems, welcome Lamb, welcome Fuma. There was still problems going on in Russia. Right, there was still lots of restrictions on Jewish life, and there was a fear of other people being taken to jail for keeping Jewish life in Russia. It was a very, very harsh time. There were lots of decrees, and so it wasn't a complete redemption fully that everybody was fine. There was still a lot of problems. Okay, so the question is, they didn't finish and win completely, and it's only now, the Rebbe says, in the last few years, it was more than 60 years after the previous Rebbe was sent out, that we see the results of his redemption, that the Jewish people were redeemed and allowed to leave that country, etc. Okay, It was only in the 90s, like more than 60 years later, that the Jewish people were allowed out of Russia. The Rebbe says for sure, if things happen in this order of stages, there's divine providence. Yesh botam, there's a reason for this. Especially when this has to do with the leader of the Jewish people. The previous Rebbe was a Nasi, he was a leader of the whole Jewish people, took everybody's welfare, all Jewish people's welfare into account when he was making his decisions in life. And like the previous Rebbe wrote, or he writes, not just me, Hashem redeemed when I came out from he wrote this on Bais when he was released completely. He says, anybody who loves Torah, anybody who keeps mitzvahs, and anybody who's just a Jew, just called a Jew, it's a redemption for everybody, because he took into his life the welfare of the entire Jewish people. But beyond Gimel Tammuz, the day of the 3rd of Tammuz, so many generations previously, on the day of the 3rd of Tammuz, there was also a miracle. In this day, Yeshua said, Shemesh b'givon dam v'yidam Shemesh aviyah. So Yeshua said the sun should stop in Givon, and v'yidam Shemesh ad yikom b'gom ha'arav. And the sun did stop and didn't set, so he had more time to fight the war and to take care of the enemies. Since everything's divine providence. Every year, these things reoccur again, like it was the first time, right? Whatever, miracles, when they happen on a certain day, they reoccur again on a certain dimension every year. So the Rebbe says there must be connection between the two miracles of Tammuz, the stopping of the sun by Yeshua, and the beginning of the Gul of the previous Rabbi that we had on the 3rd of Tammuz, like we said before. Similar to the question that we asked, why didn't Hashem make it a full miracle right away, immediately on the 3rd of Tammuz? Why did he have to go and be exiled? Same thing we can ask about the question about this other miracle that happened on the 3rd of Tammuz, which was the stopping of the sun. כיוון שקורה כאן נס גדול כזה בהצלת השמש ומניסים הגדולים ביותר שקרו אי פעם, עד שהפסוק אומר לא היה כיום ההוא לפניו ואחריו, בכדי שישוב בני ישראל יוכלו להמשיך במלחמה על ידי ראיית אויבים ורדיפתם. כי בעת יעמד השמש נוכח גבעון וחשש פן ישקע בעונתו ולא יוכלו לרדוף אחריו באישון הלילה, ולכן אמר להשמש שלא ילך מהלכו וימתין עוד נוכח גבעון במקום שהוא עומד. So the story with Yeshua is also, you can ask the same question. It was such a big miracle that the sun stopped. It's like it says also, there was, and it says it in the book of Yeshua, chapter 14, there was no day like that, not before, not after. And this happened in order so that Yeshua and the Jewish people could go continue the war by seeing the enemy. They didn't have night vision binoculars then. And so they needed a miracle in order to get to be able to see and be able to pursue the enemy, and something that they couldn't do if it was nighttime. And that's why Yeshua said to the sun, don't, stop in your tracks, don't keep going, don't set, and stay where it is in its orbit, don't move. It could have been a complete miracle if he was doing a miracle already. שבמקום לעצור את השמש בכדי שיוכלו ללחם דרדר לרועים, היה נס צריך להיות שישוע יכול צריך לבקש מהקדוש ברוך הוא שמלכתחילה ינצחו במלחמה. He could have just asked Hashem, help us win the war immediately and quickly in a miraculous way. And they don't need to make the sun stop in order for them to have to fight. Like Hashem could have made another miracle that they would win some without them having to make the sun stop so they could fight. Hashem could have just made them win in a miraculous way. Or Hashem could have made it that at night they could continue to fight. Similar to the miracle that was in the Bnei Yisrael in Egypt, when it says all the Jewish people had light wherever they were at night, in the Makkah of Choshech, in the Makkah, the plague of not the plague, Makkah. I'm still waking up. The 10 Makkahs. How do you say Makkah?
Plagues, no? Yeah, plagues.
Plague is right.
It is plague. Okay, plague. Okay, so the plague of Choshech, when the Jews could see and the non-Jews, the Mitzrayim, the Egyptians couldn't see. That was the miracle they had then. So Hashem could have made that kind of miracle that in times of Yeshua, they could have pursued at night also and finished the war. Okay, there could have been a different kind of a miracle. So the question is, also, one second, means that even in this miracle of the sun standing, oh wait, I skipped. כאשר היה חושך כמו שכתוב בפסוק שלפני זה והשם השליך עליהם אבנים גדולות מן השמיים. Like it says in the verse before, and in the book of Yeshua, in this miracle, that Hashem threw stones upon them from the sky. So Hashem could have done a miracle where they didn't need to stop the whole sun and the whole, in its orbit. Hashem could have just like sent some sort of other miracle that they would have won quickly. Now, within this miracle of the sun stopping, the Rebbe says we need to investigate and see what kind of miracle, what exactly happened with this miracle. Was it just one detail that happened that helped whatever they needed? Meaning that the light of the sun would continue to shine. You only needed the sun itself to stop in the orbit, to keep shining on the land. Okay. דהיינו שהנס עצר גם את כל העניינים הקשורים ממלאך השמש, הסיבות לזה, מהלך גלגל הימים, ממילא מהלך כל הגלגלים שנעשה על ידי סיבוב השמש הימי, המקיף ומסובב את הכל. Was there a miracle in all the entire orbits of all the everything connected in the heavens and the planets and the orbits of the everything, meaning that Hashem changed the whole entire orbit system and everything stopped and was stopped in its tracks, or was it just the sun that had a temporary hold on its orbit? So, right, so what was the miracle? Was it just the sun, or was it everything, all the other planets? Okay. החילוק בין שני אופנים, okay. So meaning just more nuance. The Rebbe asked, was the miracle with the reasons for the orbit of the sun? Meaning what causes the sun to orbit? Or was it just the shining of the sun at that moment? So if it was the cause of what makes the sun orbit, and all the Galgalim, all the planets would be involved in that also, which is, the whole interconnection of the whole system of all the planets together. Okay, so was it like a more, I guess, like what nature was changed basically? Was the cause of the orbiting of the planets, or was it just the sun itself stopping to shine and stopping in its orbit? Okay, that's how I understand it. There might be more deeper understanding of this that I haven't investigated. There is Yeah, there's a footnote 26 and a footnote 27 to go into that more. Okay, but I'm not going to do it today because it's already Erev Shabbos 8 o'clock, and it's 8 o'clock by me, 11 in the morning, and we want to get through the Sikha as much as we can before Shabbos. Okay. Yesh Lomar. So now the Rebbe is giving us Chiddush. Shazer al derech shnei hasugim benisim. This is, now we're going to the thing. We could say this is similar to the two types of miracles that we can have. There's two types of miracles, and this Rebbe also explains this in Likutei Sichos, part 5, page 176, and part 6, page 89, part 18, page 242. So there's quite a few other places the Rebbe talks about this idea of two types of miracles. One, hanes eino meshaneh teva davar. The first type of miracle, the miracle doesn't change the nature of anything. Hanes de makat dam, like the miracle of the plague of blood. The water turned to blood. The water was in essence still water. When the miracle stopped, the change of the water stopped also, and the blood turned back to its original water. So meaning water wasn't completely, the essence of water wasn't changed. There was a miracle that it temporarily became blood, and then when it was removed, the miracle, it went back to what it was really to begin with. So similar to that, you'd say there could have been the miracle in a way that it's just the sun itself had the miracle, and it went back to its natural order, and everything went, everything within the orbit system of the world. The other type of miracle that could be is that the miracle changes the actual nature and the existence of what we're dealing with. Like the miracle of Moshe Rabbeinu's hand turning to be like white from leprosy. And after the miracle, the white was still there, the tzaras, the blemish on the hand was still there in a natural way. In order to return it back to its original nature, it was necessary to do one more additional miracle. Okay, so the question is, was it a temporary change of the thing itself is still the same, the essence of it, and you're just temporarily changing the way it's functioning, or is there a change in the nature of the thing itself? And then you need another miracle to put it back to its original natural nature form. So the Rebbe says, we could say, so this is Rebbe's Chiddush. A similar explanation we can have on the question also for the same about the miracle that happened with the staff of Aharon. And he's going back to say the story about Korach when he was questioning the kahuna, the high priests, the Kohanim, like who says they could be priests. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, take a staff from each tribe. Each tribe took their staff and they wrote the name of the tribe on the staff. And the name of Aaron was put on the staff of Levi. Okay, so the name of the leaders of the tribes were put on, and the staff of Levi we put Aaron. And the person that Hashem will choose, Hashem said, whoever I will choose, his staff will become full of flowers, right? Will sprout. And that's what happened. Hashem put all the staffs of all the heads of tribes into the Yehudit, into the tabernacle, into the Mishkan. The next day he came back, and the staff of Aaron sprouted, so everybody could see it. Not only it brought flour, it also sprouted and made already shkedim. It made almonds. Okay, it made a fruit. So Moshe Rabbeinu took out all the staffs from the Mishkan. He showed it to all the Jewish people. They should all see that Hashem chose Aaron. And Hashem says, return the staff of Aaron back into the Mishkan in front of the Aaron, so it should be saved as a sign for the miracle. And also, because to remember that I've chosen Aaron to be the Kohen. Okay? So now the Rebbe was asking a question about this miracle. If Hashem was making a miracle with the staff, he could have made the miracle that immediately there would be fruits already sprouting. That could have been enough. You just have this one detail that it's already a fruit, and we know Hashem is making a miracle, and because He's choosing Aaron. So why did it take place in a natural order thing? That first it had the flower, and then it budded, and then it became a fruit. Why did it go through the stages? If it's already a miracle, it could have gone immediately to be a fruit. Okay? Moshe Rabbeinu showed all this to the Jewish people. The whole, I guess, the different parts of it, I guess, were shown. And the Rebbe talks about it at length, how this exactly happened in the Kutei Sichos. Okay, so when it was taken as a remembrance and put forever to remember the staff of Aaron, on it there was also flowers. Like it says in the Gemara, it had in it, when it was put to be saved, the staff of Aaron. When the Aaron, the tabernacle, was hidden, we know it's hidden under the Temple Mount, okay, under the Bais. They built a tunnel over there to hide the Aaron. So when it was put down there, they also put within it the staff of Aaron, which has on it both its fruits and its flowers. So the question is, why? Why did you need it to be, a miracle could happen without having to have all these stages to it. Okay, so we can already guess it's similar to the miracle of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, which also was in stages. Okay, the miracle of the Lubavitcher Rebbe coming out first, just being let out of prison, and then 10 days later being let out completely from exile, and then still there was another 60 years until all the Jewish people were allowed, freedom of religion and to get out of Russia. Okay, so why? Hashem can make miracles faster. We want fast miracles, right? We want them now, immediately, full-fledged miracles. We don't want to see little bits and pieces of miracles every day. Okay, so why? Usually there's no whys in Yiddishkeit, but the Rebbe wants to learn something, because this is going to be a lesson, I guess, in how we make miracles happen. Okay, let's find out. Wait, I'm sorry, I skipped something. Okay. What's the point here? התכלית והחידוש דנס זהו שגם שהמטה מצד עצמו אינו שייך בטבעו לפריחה וצמיחת פירות, זה יכול להיות רק בכוחו של הקדוש ברוך הוא נס. אף על פי כן פרנס זה במטה שזה לא היה נשאר סתם עניין ניסי שלמעלה לגמרי מטבע, אלא זה מתקשר עם טבע המטה. So the Rebbe is explaining, this is the Rebbe's explanation, which is the Rebbe's Chiddush, and he explained this also before in the Kutei Sichos. And in the footnotes, you could see the different places he's explaining this miracle. The Chiddush was that even though on its own, this staff is on its own would not, what was the miracle? On this staff on its own would not shaykh. It's not a living tree. It doesn't have it within its nature the ability to sprout flowers and make fruits. It's only Hashem's power that can make it happen. That's why it's a miracle. But still, Hashem made it that this miracle would happen in the staff of Aaron, and it wouldn't just be some sort of miracle which is beyond nature completely, but he connected it with the nature of the staff. With the nature of the staff, which is the branch, is to sprout, right, slowly. That's why the sprouting of it was in its natural order. It took away the limitations of time, that it happened accelerated pace. So right, so it still went within the natural order of how does a fruit come about. It first makes flowers, and then makes a bud after the flower falls, and then it becomes a fruit. It grows into a fruit. And they saw that it was shkedim when it was recognized. So the natural order of the progression from a branch to a fruit still took place, just accelerated. So this the Rebbe puts in brackets. He says this shows to the Jewish people that Hashem choosing Aaron to be the Kohen, the priest, is in a way that the kahuna is done by him as his natural thing. It's a nature, it's part of his nature, become part of his teva, his nature. When it becomes inherent in his nature for him forever and ever. And the Rebbe doesn't say this here, but we know that I've heard that they've done testing on DNA of Kohanim, and they do have a certain type of DNA that's different than regular DNA. So similar to this is a similar thing happened with the miracle of the Hashem stopping the sun and the miracle of the previous Rebbe. Okay, any questions so far? Because now we're going to go into the explanation of how we can understand the other miracles. If you have anything you want to say or ask before we go into the answer.
Perfect.
Water. Okay, so here we go. Dalit. Yesh Lamar, so this is Rebbe's Chiddush, Rebbe's insight. Everything Hashem created in the world, Hashem only created it for His glory, His honor. That's what the rabbis say. It says in Pirkei Avos, end of chapter 6. Everything in the world, even though the world is a cover-up on Hashem, on godliness, we don't see Hashem clearly, but everything was created in order to reveal Hashem's glory. Does any follow the Avodat Yehudit? How do we reveal Hashem's existence and glory and cover and honor, right? Through our service. We utilize things in the world for Hashem's glory. So we make a beautiful home, we make a beautiful shul, we make a beautiful event, we make a beautiful speech, right? We dress honorably, we do mitzvahs in an honorable, beautiful way, and we reveal Hashem. We use the world for Hashem's glory. This is important because when we're doing our service, we can have in mind we're getting dressed in the morning, we're getting dressed to give glory to Hashem, to give honor to Hashem. We're setting up our home, we're giving honor to Hashem. Right? We're doing a mitzvah, we're giving honor to Hashem. Okay. It says in the Mishnah. And we're utilizing the world to give honor to Hashem. שבא אותו באופן שנוטל כביכול מכוחותיו וזמנו ששת ימי בראשית, ובו כל נברא בכוח מיוחד, כוח התהוות, יש מאין, שהוא דווקא בכוח העצמות, ובפרט על פי תורת הבעל שם טוב, שהתהוות הבריאה מתחדשת בכל רגע, ברגע מאין ואפס ממש, זו הוכחה שהקדוש ברוך הוא עושה שלנבראים תהיה שייכות עם כוח הבורא, הקדוש ברוך הוא שלהם, עד שיוכלו להוסיף כביכול בכבודו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. So this is very deep. I'm going to say this word for word. This is another axiom. Pay attention. Okay. This is, okay, I like to use the word axiom. I hope it's a good word. But this is something to internalize, okay, and take to heart, because this is the bottom line for everything that we're doing. When it says in the Mishnah, Hashem created everything, Hashem announces to us, He announces to us in Torah that Hashem creates it. Hashem created it. Hashem created this thing, and Hashem announced to us how He created it, right? He said, let there be light, let there be a firmament, let there be plants. He announced to us how He created it. It seems as if like Hashem is exerting effort and putting His time and effort, like in the 6 days of creation, to make it happen. To create everything with a special koyach, a special energy, a special power. And this is the power of creation, hitavut yeshman, from something, from nothing, which is specifically with the power of Hashem's essence, the atzmos. Only Hashem's essence can create something from absolute nothingness. Everything else, everybody else can create something from something after Hashem created it from nothing. Especially according to the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, that the creation is being renewed every second. From nothing to something mamash. This second, we're being given a life force right now, an existence, from nothing to something mamish, really. This is a proof that Hashem wants us, the creations, to have a connection, a shaychus, connected with the koyach, the power of a creator, which is Hashem, that's creating us now, so that we could, so to speak, add in Hashem's glory and honor. Right? Hashem wants us. Hashem announced us that He created us, and the Baal Shem Tov teaches He's creating us every second, and He wants us to have, so to speak, this ability to, so to speak, add in Hashem's glory. Because if not, you could ask the question: Hashem could have created the world that we don't know that Hashem created us. Completely separate. We don't know how Hashem created. He didn't have to tell us in Torah how He created the world. That He used 10 mamoros, 10 saying, the 10 sentences of creation, the 10 mamoros they're called. Okay, etc., etc. How Hashem, the whole first part of Sefer Bereshis, how Hashem created the world. In the way that Hashem, so to speak, invested the power of Hashem's essence, His essence, and His 10 statements, mamaros, let there be light, let there be firmament, let there be plants, let there be a man, right? All those are the 10 statements of creation. More than that, and also, why would Hashem create the world in such a way that it needs to be created every second again, renewed again? Hashem could have used such a strong power for force that in the first moment of creation, He could have created it that exists strongly eternally for 6,000 years. Okay, so like there's a lot of stages of creation, time and effort and place, right? This came about, and this Hashem brought about this and this and that. So this is all told to us, the whole story, and then we're also taught that not only that, we still need Hashem to be creating us at every second for us to even exist. This is what the Baal Shem Tov reviewed. So Hashem could have created, though, with such a force that we wouldn't need Hashem to give us creation at every moment. From the word of Hashem, giving us our existence from nothing to something every second. Hashem didn't have to make it that way. So this is our chiddush. Okay, so nobody ever asked this question. I don't think nobody ever answered this question. Yesh Lamar, we can say the reason for this is that Hashem is creating us in this way. Hashem wants us. Every part of creation Hashem wants. Every created being will feel that we are actually through us, Hashem is exerting, is making something happen. Something new is happening through Hashem creating us. Because then we have very, very good pleasure, true and complete pleasure. So we have more pleasure that creation is being done through us. Through us, Hashem is creating like this, and there's something new happening every second through us coming into creation every second. Not only that Hashem is giving us our existence and we're keeping what Hashem commands us, but we're also activating an additional something from within us. We have this power to choose, and we can make something new happen. The true chiddush, the true novelty of this newness is when we're connected to Hashem. We reveal Hashem's glory of Hashem in the world. So we are partners, basically, it doesn't say the words, but we're partners in creation. We get to be part of this whole concept of the world coming to its fruition and to its fulfillment through us giving glory in Hashem, to Hashem, giving honor to Hashem. At every moment, we're using the world to serve Hashem in a beautiful, honorable way, and we're partnering with Hashem, and part of this creation process is happening and it's fulfilled through us. So therefore, Hashem put his power of creation into the world, in the way that Hashem is creating the world every second, anew, because this is what connects the creation, the created beings, every moment. We are at every second can connect to this power of Hashem creating us something from nothing, and it gives us the ability to make our part of creation take place every second. Every detail and every moment, we have this power to reveal Hashem's glory, anew. We can reveal that Hashem is giving us the word of Hashem in us this second, that's giving us life force and giving us existence from nothing at this moment, mamash. So this is the excitement of being alive and being conscious that we're being alive, and that Hashem is giving us the gift of life every second. This gives us a deeper, more intimate, close, constant connection with Hashem as partners in creation. Pretty good. If Hashem would have created it in the other way, where Hashem just put one sort of force into it and it stays and exists there forever and has this power, strong power to stay sustained for a long time, and it's not being renewed every second, it would have been a one-time revelation of Hashem's glory, Hashem's honor. Hashem created it at one point, and that's it. It would have been a one-time revelation of Hashem's honor. By the way that Hashem creates existence every moment anew from the word of Hashem, we reveal at every moment anew Hashem's glory. For instance, when we drink water, we say shakol. I said shakol before. Shakol niyabivo. Hashem. Everything was created in Hashem's word. When we use the water and we're able to make the blessing, we reveal that Hashem created everything, and the water is also Hashem created this water with Hashem's word, by Hashem, the words of Hashem to create the water, and we reveal that Hashem is now renewing this water, the life force in the water again, that the water could exist. Therefore, everything was done with Hashem's word. We reveal Hashem's word in all creation, right? Hashem is creating this water from nothing to something at this moment. The book we're learning, the Zoom, the computer, right? Everything now, we are revealing Hashem is creating this at this second. כאשר הוא שותה מים לברך ברכה נוספת בזמן מאוחר יותר, איזה מגלה את דבר השם דברו מחדש. And when a person drinks water later, and he says again the blessing, Shakol Ni'avadbo, we're adding again. We're revealing the word of Hashem, that the new word of Hashem that's added now again in this person who's saying the blessing and in the whole entire world. There's a new aspect of creation with this new blessing. So if somebody asks, why do I have to keep blessing all day long? Blessings. This is one thing where Villat Hashem again is creating the water, again is creating me, again is creating every little thing that we're using. So to so again, when we say Bar Pi Agafen, so also we're revealing that Hashem is giving life force in all the fruits of the vine, all grapes, right? In the whole entire world, etc. So we're revealing that Hashem is giving life force to this water, and Hashem is giving life force to all the grapes, and Hashem is giving life force to everything that we're using. Every time we're making the blessing, that it's a new life force. It's not just the old one, the one-time energy that was put into the world at the time of creation. Okay, any questions or any comments? He's going back to the miracle part. There's no, everybody's.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
in light of this, I've always seemed like I've had this question. Like sometimes we'll have a sandwich for lunch, and then we'll get in the car and rush to our errands, and then afterwards we're like, we didn't do Birchas Hamazon. And so sometimes I'll be like, well, let's eat something else and have in mind that after we finish that, we'll do Birchas Hamazon. So now I'm thinking, well, really, no, because it's a new provision. It's a new creation. We just missed that other opportunity. I think, is it after 90 minutes or something?
72, I think. So I think it's 72 minutes.
Oh, even less. So we missed more.
We it takes to digest in the stomach is what it's like. An hour and 12 minutes. Yeah.
So, basically, we have to just let that go as a missed opportunity, and then be more conscious the next time that we have bread with our meal, that we want to set that heshbon that, this is like new creation, even if it's, old bread.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of laws associated with it, and there's ways around it. So if somebody is still eating the meal at the table, like if you started the meal with other people and they're still eating at the table, you can go and come back and still bench. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, so like if it's a big meal that's over a period of a few hours, also it's okay. It's a long, you're all still there. It's only if you leave that it's a problem. But if you can go back and there's somebody still there eating the meal, it could be even more than 72 minutes, and you can go back and do the benching.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so
there's also you could
a piece of bread with you, and then you can bench in a different place. Or if you keep drinking or something, if you have let's say 70 within that time, you could have a drink, and that lengthens the time also.
I never heard of that about drinking. I heard about bringing bread with you.
I understand that. Pardon?
I heard about bringing bread with you. If you take bread with you, you can continue
Yeah.
the meal somewhere else. But drinking, I don't think is enough.
Oh, no, not to leave. I'm saying what I understand is that if you didn't bench, right, and you're still eating, you eat something else, right, then that starts the time again. Continues the time.
Yeah.
Eat
If you're
something
still at
else
the table and people are still eating a meal,
or in
Not if you go in a
the
car
same
away
house.
from.
If you go in the car, that's a problem.
No, but you could take a piece of bread with you and bench
Yeah.
in the car. Like, let's say,
Yeah,
oh,
but
you have
not
to get
water.
out right now. Take a little piece of bread with you
Yeah,
have it wherever you are or you go, and then you can
Yes.
bench there because you're
Yes.
bringing it with you.
yes, yes. Yeah, and continue eating it. You have to not just bring it with you, you have to eat it.
Right,
I
right, or a
thought, I
piece of
thought
it.
I thought we were supposed to bench in the place that we ate.
Right, so that's why she's saying if you bring some bread with you, and you eat it in another place, it's like you continue the meal. You
Oh.
really should have in mind when you wash that you're gonna do that.
Oh.
When you start the meal, that you're gonna end it in another place, and you're gonna bring the food with you, the bread with you, and finish it in another place.
So you
And-
have to have it in mind when that you're going to
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, you're supposed to have in mind that you're washing here and you're starting the meal here, but you're gonna continue the meal somewhere else.
So is it better not to say the prayer when you realize you forgot and you're not, or is it okay to say a thank you in retrospect, even though it's not the same thing? What do you think?
The halacha, it's not what I think, it's halacha states when you're allowed to bench or not bench.
Right, but I mean, if let's say somebody ate a meal and then they left and then they forgot and then they realize they forgot and they're not within halacha to bless, to say thank you. You can't just say thank you. I'm sorry, I missed that, but I
Oh, you
thank
could
you
say thank
anyway.
you, but you could say thank you, just the blessing with Hashem's name is only said under certain.
Oh, the full blessing, right?
Yeah.
But you can say like some kind of abridged thank you,
Yeah, I'm sure you could always do that.
right?
Under any circumstances.
It's probably not halacha, but it's good, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you could always, you're not fulfilling. the
Always say
mitzvah of-
thank you, Hashem, all day long. You can say
Okay.
thank you.
Yes,
There's a million things every second. Can always do that. Absolutely.
yes, yes, yes.
You know, it's tricky because like when you first start saying blessings and everything, to remember to say before and after is a little bit tricky. Even though I isn't the Torah commandment is to say it after, but the rabbinical is to say it before
Yeah,
also. Okay.
yeah. The after the blessing of the meals on bread is when it's on bread, then it's from the Torah. In terms of habits, I'm reading this habit book, so there's ways to establish habits, and one way is to notice that this is something that a habit you want to change. If you forget that to say the blessings before and after, then there's a lot of tricks that you can do to remind yourself before you eat a fruit or before you eat something to say to stop and pause and thank Hashem. And then also when you're done, there's I think somebody has the habit, like before he gets up from the table to do the benching. So if they got up from the table, they know they must have benched, because they will never get up from the table until they do the benching. Like you could establish whatever it is that in your brain that you'll remember.
That's a nice tip.
I
guess we all-
remember too, Rivka told me something that I really never forgot. And that is this. One time, I don't know what I asked her, but I'm going to give an example. Let's say a person on Shabbos reaches for the hot water thing, the handle that's hot, and they reach for that. And she said that if a person is in the right mindset, then they wouldn't even do that. Like if I'm in a Shabbos mindset, then I wouldn't even do that. And if we're in a mindset of giving glory to Hashem all day, every day, then we wouldn't even not bench first or second. And she was trying to tell me that it's not a matter necessarily, it could be too, but it's not. She was telling me that it's not really a habit. It's a mindset that we stay in. That's what I never forgot
Yeah,
that.
it's not really what it is well, it's deeper and broader than exactly what you're saying, because if you're separating holiness from secular, let's say regarding Shabbat, or if you are internalizing holiness, obviously you may be very, you may never forget, you know what I mean? But the problem comes if you're not, I guess when you're in the process or whatever, if you're not stringent enough, that's when you really start to see how the problems pile up, because you're really not completely separating. You're not
Right.
making yourself holy enough, and you're not always separating. And that's when you start to get really messed up and confused.
Right.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's a good,
Yeah.
that's a true, that's really a truism. That's very
Yeah.
profound.
It really helps, and it works all
Yeah.
day too, because then we're in the mindset all day of giving glory to Hashem. And if we're in that mindset all day, every day, then we don't forget either,
Mhm.
is what she was saying. I mean, she expanded it. Like we
Right.
won't forget to say the blessing or the after blessing. We just won't, because we're in the right mindset. So we don't have to remember. We'll just, this is when our being is our doing. Well, somebody asked what that meant, but that's
Yeah.
the being, and then we do, therefore.
Right.
But you know, the process of maybe, I'm always thinking about al tshuva, like when you
Yeah,
or taking on more and more,
right.
you know, what are the tricks? Because sometimes, you know, when you already thank Hashem for your food, you're like, I thanked it. You feel like you thanked him already. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah, no, it
easy
makes
to
a lot of
forget.
sense. It makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
But what to
yeah,
think
yeah.
about is to develop the mindset as much as develop the habit.
Yes, so that's exactly it, Chava. It's both. So
Mhm.
the mindset is our identity. I'm here to serve Hashem, to give thanks to Hashem, right? I'm here to bring glory to Hashem. So I see a fruit, I get excited. Oh, thank you, Hashem, for giving me the fruit. You know, I'm feeling satisfied. Oh, I'm full. Thank you, Hashem, for helping me be, have this food. I'm full now. So that's like I'm here with that consciousness that I'm here to thank Hashem. And but then there's also the habit helps, because we're not
Right.
always necessarily going to be in that mindset
Right.
of
But
gratitude.
just to note that we should develop that mindset
Yes,
all the time. That's
Yeah.
all I mean.
yes, yes.
That's what she reminded me of, is to develop that mindset, and then we'll forget less. I also heard one time that if, let's say we wash and then we don't dry our hands completely, or we wipe them on our napkin or something like that. No, not our napkin, our clothes or something. Then we will forget. It'll cause forgetfulness. I read that in Tillim, or I don't know where I read that, but it causes forgetfulness. I thought, what do you mean? Like senility? No, I think I have come to realize and conclude that it causes forgetfulness, because then we get lax. Like wipe it on my skirt or something like that. If it's
Mhm.
not a nice skirt. I'm not saying I do that. I'm just giving an
You're saying it's
example.
a bad habit.
Yeah, it becomes like, if you just let it go, like, okay, I'll just wipe my hands here and then I'll say it. But no, just dry them completely, keeping in the mindset. That's what I learned from reading that wherever I read that.
Right.
And
good.
also, like when you wake up in the morning, you do Modeh Ani, right?
Mhm.
It's about what we're learning right now. You do Modeh Ani every morning, and then you do the full morning prayers when you're literally thanking him for for our
Right.
clothing, for this, for that. It all these prayers are to keep you connected to the reality that everything is emunah and bitachon, and why we're here and what we're doing here.
Good point.
So, right. So
Developing the
exact
mindset, sort of, right? That's
what?
that's probably what develops the mindset. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just the reality. It's
Reality.
just not a forgetting that of the true reality of what's happening around us. We're not totally asleep and dissociating and thinking
Right.
things are separate and getting
Right.
lost in the world, you know, in the fake world, and
Yeah, not
not
like
staying,
having a
yeah,
list, not a list that you check off,
no,
sort of.
no.
Yeah.
It's like staying connected to the reality of like God created us, he put us here, and we're his, and all day long we're his, and all day long we have to have him inside of us, and our inside our minds, inside our consciousness, and in our behavior.
Right.
That's what this is talking about, right? Like what we just
Right.
learned right now.
Yeah, and we're making a home for him. So he has to come and recognize that.
That's our whole purpose of being here.
Mhm.
Like
I
we are
also-
part of him. We're his creation.
So we're giving back. We're giving back. Going forward, whatever you call it.
Right. It's like a love relationship between
Yeah.
us. It's like, thank you for giving me the impression, like, thank you for giving me arms and legs, or thank you for giving me a body so that I could produce a miracle. Thank you for allowing me to express your love to the world, to your other creatures all day long. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah. And come on over. You'll be comfortable here. I'm doing what your will, so you can come to my house.
Or you
and
could come
help-
closer because he is here. It's just closer, right? Or more revealed or.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
so
I
I
mean,
wanna-
to
I
make a
wanna bring
dwelling,
in-
I'm trying to think about the dwelling, like make my home a dwelling and make me a dwelling for Hashem. Then I should do these things because he's, not because anything, just.
Wait,
Also,
so I
I
want to
think
bring
when
it
you're
a little
first-
deeper.
Oh, I was just going to quickly say, also, I heard once that when someone's trying to start new mitzvot and build on what you're already doing, it's like a good idea to build it in stages. So it's like you tackle like one concept or one mitzvah at a time. So it's like once you gain that like feeling of like it's like I'm doing it, I'm capable, rather than trying to take on like, so
Yes.
many things at once.
Yes, it's like when you're changing a habit or taking on a habit.
That's an awesome point.
You
Yeah,
can't,
but that's also reflected in what we just learned, right?
yes. Yes,
Oh, I
yes.
wanted to
thank
say
you.
something deeper
The
about
stages.
I want to tell you something deeper about what we just learned. So, I was at a shiur and they're talking about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, that one of his students said, I found the pieces to the Merkava, and he got down from his donkey, and the student said, no, don't get down for your donkey for that. He said, no, for the Merkava, for Hashem, I'm going to get down. And the student told, because teachers, they'll tell parts, like all of us are getting parts right now of what we could actually create. And he said it, and then the fruits grew on the trees and birds surrounded, and there's certain people that knew how to make the trees create the fruit really quickly. There's stories about them, but I won't go into it right now. But so it's all putting all this together. Hashem gives us ways to create these miracles if we can tap into it and
That's
get to a
really
deeper
cool.
level.
I have this story, but it's not exactly that. But I tutor a girl, and her mother liked what the results were, so she sent me I forgot what kind of flower, but anyway, so this flower was done and it quit. And so I kept the leaves. I thought the leaves were really nice. So I kept watering it and watering it, the leaves. And 2 years later, now it had buds and now it has flowers again. It's 2 years later and I watched the buds and I was amazed that suddenly that would come back after 2
Well,
years.
there's something called root it. You could put root it on it and then plant it, and then it grows into a tree or grows flowers or grows this. That's also a miracle, a quick
Right.
way to grow something from a
Right,
branch.
but this just sat there. It didn't
Yeah,
even
Baruch-
replant it or
Wow.
anything. It just decided
Baruch
to
Hashem.
mix. It
It was in water though, right?
wasn't in, I watered it, but it's in dirt.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for your insights. It's great. I love it.
But
I'm-
we had an argument, sort of, not really, but
Yes.
like when we had the women's class on Shabbos, somebody said, well, I could never do that. I don't have a green thumb. I said, a green thumb? What's a green thumb? Like what, I have a special, all I did was water it. She said, well, you have a green thumb. I'm saying, no, I don't have a green thumb. Then what I finally said, as I said, I try every day to make peace in our home, and I try to bring Hashem into our home. I mean, that's what I finally said, because she kept on me about my green thumb, which I thought was funny. So that was my answer, but it's kind of an answer, isn't it?
Yes, yes, that is a perfect answer.
Yes,
Because
yes.
Gashmias and Ruchnias are really, it's one thing. And that's what you're saying, see God in everything that you're doing. So if you're saying Hashem created a miracle, but the miracle could be because I bring peace in my home, or
Yeah, I like that. And I liked when I said it too. Thank you for
Yes. Yes, definitely. It's like people have belief systems that, like, where do you get that from? The idea of a green thumb also, it's a belief system, like it's not based on anything.
Yeah,
I like your basis and thesis for things much more.
So you're
Based on
saying materialism and spirituality are really the same thing.
yeah.
That's what you
something
said.
like that.
That's a translation of Gashmias and Ruchnias, right?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of people might be listening to the recording and they're listening all in English, and then they get to the very best part and someone's speaking Hebrew, and they have to try to look it up and see if they can figure out what was just said.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to review a little bit of what we just read because it's very profound about the when we make a blessing, Shahakol Niyah B'Yudvar. What does Shahakol Niyah B'Yudvar mean? Talking about translation, that everything was was created in Hashem's word. So when we speak, when we say this blessing, we say it on water and most foods. We say the blessing. We're acknowledging that Hashem didn't just create this water; He created the whole creation, everything. So we're revealing the word of Hashem, that in the word of Hashem, all creation was created. And when we drink and make this blessing, later on again, we reveal that Hashem's word is creating the whole creation. So we get to reveal Hashem constantly, just like Hashem is constantly renewing the world. So, okay, so this is the idea, if that Hashem, when Hashem created the world, he had us in mind, that we're going to get to be partners in this constantly, in revealing Hashem, creating the world constantly. So the creation is happening constantly, so we can be partners constantly in this. And we're living within dimensions of time and space. So we go to one place and we make another blessing, and we go to another time period and we make another blessing, and all these things is like Edna was saying, another opportunity to reveal Hashem again and again and again. So it's okay. So that's a nice way of seeing it. If you did forget or you didn't say your blessings in the past, look at it this way. It's a new opportunity now. We have lots and lots of opportunities now to reveal Hashem and bless Hashem. Okay, just like Hashem is constantly renewing us.
Oh, so what you're saying is that if we forgot it, well, let's do something right now
Yes.
with this
And bless Hashem.
moment that he's recreating us.
Yes.
This new opportunity, take it.
Yes.
Don't forget it. Don't worry about the one I missed.
Yes. Yes. Hashem is giving us new life every second, and to the whole world every second. And we can reveal Hashem's glory at every moment, right now. Okay, with this new creation of Hashem, that Hashem is creating us. We can thank Hashem for this new opportunity of being created this second, and the whole world. Hashem is creating the world, so we say Shahakol again. We're acknowledging that Hashem is creating the world right now again.
Did you learn that we don't say Shakol on water if we're not thirsty?
Yeah.
Like that's a mitzvah too. Don't say it if we're not thirsty and we're just drinking water.
Yes.
Did you learn that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I've never heard such a thing.
Yes, you have to be thirsty because
Yeah.
it doesn't have flavor, it doesn't have taste. It's not a pleasure. It's only pleasure if you're thirsty.
So I've heard that many people have saved their own lives by shakol because of, like, I've heard of I mean true stories, I promise. Like someone took someone, they were going to kill them, and they said, can I just have a drink? And they said shahakol, and then they were rescued. I've heard that a few times because it's shahakol nihiyeh bidvaro, that everything should only happen with Hashem's word, right? So they called on Hashem with that bracha, and I've heard it a few times. It's like incredible.
I've heard it with hamotzi, but
Oh, really?
well, no, I mean, it's just what we've heard. I mean, I don't know what I know yet. I mean, applying it to this, because remember that story about in prison when they had they had like a pail that they would use for the bathroom, and then there was a pail, and they couldn't daven because they used, that was in their cell, and they couldn't daven, and they're just so sad. We can't daven. Oh my gosh. So then they started dancing around it because the mitzvah was don't daven. Remember that story? So the mitzvah was don't daven. So they got so excited. They're doing a mitzvah by not davening.
Puede dejar el piso para lunes, pienso. Okay?
What?
Yeah, they were really tricking the guard that they would dance around the pail. Then he took it away. Then because they
Yeah,
were
well, it
dancing.
turned out it
I
was a
think
miracle
I
trick to
think
the
they were
guard.
sincere in feeling that any moment you're connecting with Hashem with a mitzvah.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
their mitzvah was not to daven. That was their mitzvah right then.
Yes.
And then they really fulfill sincerely, I am going to do a mitzvah right now, and my mitzvah is not going to be to daven because that's a mitzvah. Because every moment we're recreating, we're reconnecting, we're re-energizing the world. Hashem
Right.
gave me. So they really had true kavana.
And they
but-
didn't just trick the guard, do it to trick the guard, but it
But
tricked
it
the
did,
guard.
but the
That was the
guards
miracle.
really-
The miracle.
Right, but the guards felt
that they were, I mean, Hashem made them servants of Hashem. He wanted
Yes.
their davening now. And so he made them take it away. Like it's all we're all part of Hashem's world. And every moment we have to feel like we can do a way to connect, whatever that way is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that fits also with this idea of the miracle happens in stages. So the different stages of the miracles will connect in different opportunities. But I'm not going to continue inside because it's already late. But I'll just give a little pointer for what the Rebbe connects what we just learned now to the idea of Hashem makes miracles within nature. So not to completely break nature. The goal is mostly to do to reveal Hashem's glory within the creation, within the laws of nature. And so, right, so that's the whole Kavanah is with most miracles that it shouldn't be just above nature, but it should also affect and come within and permeate and be part of the nature of the world. The world should be affected in its natural form, like it should be visible within how the world functions and runs. So that's why it was also with the staff of Aaron that way, right? That it went within the stages of how a food comes into being. And the Rebbe is going to, relate that also to the miracle of the war with Yeshua and stopping the sun. So it wasn't completely above nature to win the war, but Shanas Yesiah, he wanted the miracle to help them win the war. So they continued fighting, and not that Hashem fought for them completely, just made a miracle and made them win. Hashem wanted them to win themselves within the laws of nature, but with help from above. So he made a miracle that would help them win, so they can continue winning with them doing the fighting and the winning was part of the rules of nature. Okay, they didn't completely obliterate nature. He just made it possible for them to continue fighting through stopping the sun. Okay, so what?
One question, do you think Hashem left it overnight so that they can reflect and maybe do tshuva and could they have backed out of it before?
It doesn't say that over here in this sikha.
Or
I
it may
think
have
that
to,
what
it may
he's
have to do,
saying-
yeah, you're right. Like, it may have to do with freedom. This whole concept of stages, does it have anything to do with freedom of choice?
Yes, that's what
That's
we
what I'm
thinking.
we get to
Out.
our free choice. We get to be partners in creation. We get to make it happen. We get to go fight the war. We get to go be part of this, bringing Hashem's glory into the world with the different stages. It's not Hashem is doing everything for us. He's letting us be part of it.
Yeah. And he wants us to be part of it because I think that I think it has to be sort of recognizable, like nature. It has to be
Yes.
noticeable. It can't just be like it happens, or we'll take it for granted. And we wouldn't have free choice. It would just be happening, I think.
Yes.
That's a good point, free choice.
Yes. So he brings us later on in the Sikha. We're going to do this God willing on Monday, but I just want to also, since this week is already Parshas Korach, he's taking it to way how to serve Hashem when we're doing Parnasa. We're working on our physical sustenance. Also, he brings the story that's in Senat Man, that they took part of the man and they put it in a jar and they put it also by the Aron for us to look at, be able to be reminded that later on, later generations, if we'd say, how are we going to make Parnasa? They could take out this Senat Man, show it to the Jewish people and say, Yirmiyahu did that actually, and he showed them. He said, "Look, this is how your parents were. They were taken care of by Hashem. Hashem can give parnasa. Hashem can give you your sustenance." So, and we'll do this more inside. But the same thing with the Aaron staff. Also, it happened. The staff also sprouted quickly. I mean, Hashem can help us make things happen quicker and quickly. So. Right, but we need to plant, we need to sow, we need to open, the bank account, we need to set up the credit cards, we need to set up the process, and we get to be part of it every step of the way to reveal Hashem, how Hashem is going to give us the sustenance within the rules and laws of nature. And throughout the process, we have this emunah in Hashem. Hashem is the one who's making it all happen. We're making the vessel. Hashem is giving us the parnasa in a miraculous way, but within the laws and dimensions of nature. Okay, and then we see lots of miracles happening. How Hashem makes it happen. Parnasa comes, the non-Jews help us, the world helps us, the things flow. But it's really all from Hashem. So it's really a miracle, but it's coming within nature that we are part of the process of bringing this parnasa into the world. So we get to reveal Hashem's sustenance and giving of sustenance through us. So we're working kind of in partnership. Okay, so especially the Rebbe says in our generation, when we don't have to work as hard, we do a little bit, and we're able to have more calm and more relaxation, and even our physically, we don't have to exert ourselves as much as they used to in previous years, in previous generations, where they really had to work hard much harder physically for their parnasa and to make things happen. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to learn that more in detail later, this partnership aspect and how we get to be part of revealing Hashem's miracles within nature and be part of revealing Hashem in the world. We get to do that. It's a wonderful thing. Welcome, Chana. So we're going to do our sukkim and our singing. So I think I'm going to turn off the recording, and anybody who wants to also continue afterwards, ask something, you're welcome to. Let me just see.